My 28th birthday is in 2 days, and then 5 days after that, we're gonna race a marathon.
There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Gone a sleepless night.
We are driving to Phoenix to catch a flight to Indiana to go race in 20-mile-an-hour winds and thunderstorm. The flight got canceled out of Flagstaff because of the snow. So yeah, better win this race now. We are in Indianapolis, morning of the half marathon. It is 6:25. Been up for about an hour and a half. Yeah, just packing my bag, about to stretch a little bit, get ready, and then head over towards the starting area. There's 25-mile-an-hour winds and 50% chance of storms, so should be an interesting race out there today. Just trying to get the body all woken up. Going from West Coast to East Coast is always difficult for race time when you got to get up at 5 a.m. but it's 2 a.m. back home. But yeah, luckily you get that some caffeine and some race day adrenaline, and you're fine until the next day. Then you get really tired. If you're having calf or Achilles or plantar problems, you should get a toe pro and use it every day, and your problems will go away. Thanks, man. You're doing cool. Good dear. It's a good day for it. Whenever I get nervous, I throw up before the warm-up. See, kids, it's totally normal to get nervous. It means you're excited. Do you have an extra?
Yeah.
Oh, lifesaver.
Kentucky. The Kentucky helping each other out right there.
Where's the start line at?
Like street over.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Man, right there.
Yo, yo.
Yeah, Indy was supposed to be kind of like the last dress rehearsal for CIM. Turned out to be like a solid tempo training run. Placed second, which was fine. I didn't think I really competed very well, and also it was just a totally miserable experience. I would say it kind of served its purpose, you know, and the fact that I got out there and got to go through the motions of a race, and I really wanted to focus on like trying to be patient. And then we got there and it was, you know, 30-mile-an-hour winds and raining the whole time, so it didn't make for a great race experience, and definitely not like time-wise anything like we wanted. But I still think like you got to go out there and compete no matter what the weather says, or what, you know, no matter what's going on race day. So I think just being prepared for anything come CIM is, you know, kind of really a teaching lesson from that race. Yeah, after the race we just packed up and I went down to Kentucky for a week. Going back to like where I'm from is always fun for me. So we run Thomson Training, and we put on a meet called the Lloyd Memorial Distance Festival. And in the summer we put on camp, Bluegrass Running camp, and like those projects are really important to me. So it's always fun when I get to like go back home and kind of be like immersed in it. Yeah, so the genesis of our coaching basically started like during COVID. A kid from my hometown, I was living in Boston at the time, sent me a message and was like, hey, everything's canceled. I don't have practice, my state meet's canceled, like, can you give me some workouts to do in the meantime? And this is like when we didn't even know how long, COVID was gonna last. And, it started with me giving him some workouts over Instagram, and then, next thing I know, I was kind of coaching him full time. And at first I had no intention of it really lasting, but then I really enjoyed it and kind of fell in love with the process. And, before long, one kid turned into 100 plus, and now we're kind of approaching almost 3 years of Thomson Training, and yeah, we're coaching people all over the country. We coach people pretty much of all ages. I would say it's probably predominantly high school, but we're also growing like pretty quick in like adults and road runners. So we kind of have all our bases covered, from people trying to run their first 5K to people trying to win state championships, and people trying to hit a BQ. We kind of cover all those bases.
Control, all right? I think this is like the middle 200 of your mile race. It's where he's got to like focus one step at a time. Be nice and smooth, right?
What keeps you coming back?
Seeing that the program works and having a system. I like having a routine, a system, something I know works, and guidance. And they're always there for you, running, other things. Good coaches.
Yeah, once Thomson Training got fairly big, because I was still running professionally, brought on Thomas Cave, who's somebody I've known since 3rd or 4th grade. He was a collegiate runner as well, and basically as soon as he graduated from college, he went right into coaching, so it just kind of made sense and was a good fit. And so yeah, Thomas has been with us for 2 years now, and it never would have expanded or gotten nearly as big as it is now without his help, for sure.
It's great to have Jacob back home. He knows all these kids virtually year-round, but they kind of just hear about him through me. So then having the week with him and kind of getting to know him is huge, and they all really enjoy it. They get enough from me, so having Jacob back for the week's been awesome, and yeah, the kids love him, so that's been great.
All right, ready, set, go.
The first goal is obviously like for the kids to kind of foster a love of running and kind of be able to like learn about the sport, but we want these kids to like run for many years to come. And then the second goal is obviously to show up to national level meets with Kentucky kids and show people around the country like, hey, kids from Kentucky can be fast too. So kind of those two goals is kind of like the vision behind it and kind of what we try to focus on day to day.
4x300 on 90 seconds rest. After the 4x300, we'll take 2 minutes and do another mile tempo, and then we'll do 2x200 to end it. So it's mile tempo, 4x3, mile tempo, 2x2.
I've been lucky enough that I've had a lot of really good coaches over the years. Since my days in middle school, I've always been under really good guidance, and a lot of kids don't have that opportunity like super available to them. So that's something that we want to step up and provide, and just gotten lucky with a lot of really good role models in my life, and I think if I can be that for just a couple kids, like it's totally worth it.
Every time is like gear change, right? Also it's like flying 200s. So like, yeah, so like every, should be like 116, and you try to run the last 115 or 14, but it's 50-50. All right, so up on your toes, good form, drive your knees faster.
So yeah, with Thomson Training, it's great. Into high school season, a lot of kids like to take that time off, so when you get to come out here with other kids that you run with, you race against, and now you're competing and practicing with them, it's only going to make you faster and make you better. Then you show up at the races and you know the kids. And then you have the middle school kids out here, and they're looking up to these high school kids. These are all state high school runners. Now you got middle school kids that are looking up to them, elementary school kids below them that are looking up to them. So just kind of breeding the next generation.
It's so much better being with just girls, though, when girls your age to work together, and you're gonna race with them, so it's good to work out with them.
Ready, set, go.
I ran 6:41 at middle school nationals last year, and then I ran 16:07 on the state course, and then I ran 12:41 at Tiger Run last year, then 11:36 this year. So
I really want to make an impact on the sport, and I hope I can do that through my running. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I hope the things I do outside of running can leave a longer lasting impact on the sport, whether that's coaching or the camps or putting on fast races and good events. That's something that I'm super passionate about, and I think that'll stand the test of time much longer than my running career. Yeah, running to me is the ultimate teacher. I mean, there's so many lessons I've learned throughout my life from running, and I think endurance sport in general. And I hope to kind of like pass those along. And even when people are done running, you know, whether their career ends after high school or after college, you know, running's a sport that you can do forever. It's a lifelong sport. You know, it's not like football or so many other sports where once you play your last game, like you're done forever. It's something that you can do, you know, until the day you die, pretty much. So we really want to just instill those values in everybody we work with, whether you're a 5th grader or you're a state champion high schooler trying to run at a big D1 school, or you know, you're somebody trying to hit a Boston qualifier. We love to work with athletes and kind of like teach them the values that have affected us so much throughout our life, both Thomas and I.
We're in New Albany, Indiana, right across the bridge. We're gonna do a 22-mile long run, do like 10 miles just normal running, and then 10 miles like pretty steady, probably like the 5:10, 5:15 range, 2-mile cool down on the end. Just kind of practice fluids, get in a solid long tempo kind of effort, and yeah, it's probably the last long run over 20 miles. We're like right at 3 weeks out from CIM right now. So the main reason I'm in Kentucky this week is that we put on a race. Thomas Cave and I put on a race, and it's basically, well, it's a track like 3,200. So the Kentucky State meet is at the end of October. So anybody doing postseason meets, like a NXR or a Foot Locker or anything like that, or Running Lane, you know, they have 4 or 5 weeks of nothing between the state meet and those championship races. And you know, we coach a lot of kids, and like the idea kind of came from like, hey, we want to do a 3,200 time trial. Why don't we just put on a meet? And yeah, it's come together really well. 530 entries total. So it's just been really cool to like put on these cool events that are pretty unique. We do it at college track, so you get, you know, really good high schoolers and put them on a good facility and give them some pacers and kind of set it up like a pro meet. That was kind of like our vision with everything, and yeah, the kids get to go out there and perform, and it's fun to see everybody go fast, which is what we like to see. Yeah, this marathon build up so it was a 16-week build up, and every long run kind of had a purpose. So we started with like 18 miles, going like 6 easy, 6 moderate, 6 steady. And then even if they're not like, if we're not getting down to like, you know, 5-minute pace at the end of them, most of them still have a big chunk of like, you know, 10 to 12 miles of like steady running, like under 5:30 pace, or around 5:30 pace, I guess. And we've been doing that up at altitude. So now, I think this one actually kind of works out. We're doing it in sea level. We can just run 10 to 12 like steady, right 10, not 12. 10 miles like steady, a little bit quicker than we would in Flagstaff. Yeah, it's also nice. It's like 19 degrees in Flagstaff right now, and it's 62 here. So I will say we're running at 2 p.m. We're planning on going at 8 a.m. but it's thunderstorming when we woke up this morning, so called an audible, watched the Southeast Regional meet that's here in Louisville, Kentucky on my laptop, and yeah, I got a couple extra hours of sleep, and now we're out here taking care of business at 2 o'clock. All right, research your routes before you go on them, or you'll end up in a dead end when you thought you could go another 5 miles out. Go.
All right. What did you hit that last mile? 4:56. That was like 15:07 for the last 3. First 2 miles were a little slow, and then I got into it after that pretty well. And I feel like I definitely could have done more, which I think is the goal of these. Come out leaving a little bit in the tank, but still getting a really good effort in. I don't think it's ideal to be away from altitude for, I guess, 9 days when you're only a month out from your race. By the end of the trip, I'll be 3 weeks out from the race. But I don't know, something that's really important to me is like our grassroots projects here, and that's, you know, the running camp we do in the summer. We got 250 something campers. It's our coaching, and then the club team that we do, and then this race that we put on. And like those 3 things are really important to me and really like motivate me. So I think with running, sometimes obviously it's a very, at this level, it has to be a very selfish sport where you have to be like really focused on yourself and your training, and you know, you say no to a lot of things that I probably, you know, would like to do. But this, you know, this trip and being here for the meet that we put on, and you know, coming back in the summer to be here for the running camp that we put on, like those things are kind of non-negotiable for me, and they kind of give me a chance to, I don't know, fill up my cup from trying to help other people. And I really want kids to run fast. I want to be here to see all the kids that signed up for our club team. You know, I want to be here in the summer to help the 250 campers that we have from, you know, 11 different states who come in for a week for our camp. So like those things are just super important to me. And yeah, even if I have to, you know, maybe it costs me a little bit to be away from altitude or be training on my own, away from my teammates and my coach for, you know, 9 days. I don't know, to me it's worth it. You know, you're back in the Midwest when you're covered in gnats. Probably a little over 500 calories total through Morton. I had 2 Morton 320s. I did one of them. I got like 75% of the way through the other one. Took it at 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and then I finished off a bottle on the cool down at mile 21. So that's, I don't know, however many carbs and then roughly 500 calories. So yeah, just trying to get all that stuff really nailed in, so it's easy when you get in the race.
Yeah, the week after Indy, we put on the Lloyd White Memorial Distance Fest. That's something we started last year in 2021. And honestly, the main reason we started it is because there's a month gap in Kentucky between the state meet and postseason races. We've seen them pop up all around, and something we really wanted our kids to do that we coach is to do like a 3,200 meter time trial. Works really well because kids can run really fast. Coming off of cross-country fitness, you know, they haven't run a 2 mile since track season, so it really helps them for indoor meets as well, and it's just like a really good tune-up for those faster postseason meets.
Come on, Mark, you guys can go crazy, all right? Let's run some PRs.
So yeah, the idea was to just, it started kind of as like, hey, let's put on a time trial for the kids we coach, and then it kind of evolved from that to, hey, let's put on a full-blown meet. We do youth races and then high school races, so the meet's about 5 hours long, just one heat after the other, and there was like snow on the ground. People were like talking about how cold it was, and probably the best girl to ever come out of Kentucky, Kiara O'Shea, went out and broke the state record. She ran 10:02, and then I think it served as a pretty good tune-up because she just went and won the Champs South Regional, formerly Foot Locker South. The race kind of served its purpose for her, and then yeah, I think we had about 40 high schoolers that we coach race there as well, and most of them competed over the past weekend and ran really well, and yeah, they'll kind of start to wrap up their season, and gives them like a really good benchmark to look forward to as they head into indoors. So it's named after my grandfather, Lloyd White. I never met him, he died before I was born. He was really involved in the running community, and you know, both my uncles were good high school runners as well, and it's something that, you know, I think carrying that tradition on in our family is really important. Bluegrass Running! So Bluegrass Running Camp started, basically another coach called me to talk about training, and kind of at the end of our conversation, he was like, man, we should put on a camp and like teach this stuff to as many kids as we possibly can. And that's something like I had always thought about, but it kind of seemed like a pipe dream, didn't really know how to make it happen. So yeah, we kind of started planning then. We put together the first camp in only like 4 months time, and yeah, we had 130 kids the first year, and then this past summer was the second year, and we doubled in size, and now we have kids from like 11 states came in this year, and it's really cool to like see all the kids get to know each other, and then when you see them at a big invitational cross country meet or track meet, and they're all wearing their camp shirts and warming up and cooling down together and stuff, it's cool to see that it actually is making an impact that lasts longer than just the 5 days of camp. Yeah, so it's, I guess, technically race week this week. It's Sunday, November 27th. So the build-up has been 16 weeks, so we're 15 weeks into it now, well into the taper. This past week I was down to 90 miles. Kind of had 2 last good little tune-up workouts, and I feel strong and confident and ready to go. Like the only thing now is just make sure we stay healthy and don't do anything stupid in this last week.
We're at Lake Mary Road, Monday the 28th. We're gonna do 8x-K. It's kind of like low 3s, and yeah, just kind of one last little go around. Volume's down pretty far this week with it being race week, obviously. It's kind of like half marathon effort up here at 7,000 feet. It's a little windy on the going that way, so we might just be kind of like 305 range. We're not getting any extra fitness or anything this week. It's all about just rhythm and feeling good and keeping the legs under us and just keeping our routines in check.
Yeah. One more session.
Yeah, I think we're doing like 2 mile at 5-minute pace, and then 8x400 at 70.
Yeah.
Basically the same pace we just ran those.
Yeah, you don't need much. I feel like you're pretty ready to go. Get to Sunday feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah, last build up I looked at it, I did 2 mile, 8x400, 2 mile. That was the last workout.
Last session
I feel like that seems like a lot, but I mean, I guess 6 miles when you're talking about 26 isn't very much. I mean, today was only 5. So we could have done another 8 of those. Anything can happen in the marathon, so I think we've done everything we can to prepare, so now we just got to go out and execute on race day.
My favorite part of marathon training. I think it challenges you more than any other type of training I've done mentally. It's kind of everything building up over time, like the fatigue building up, doing more mileage you've ever done, doing more reps than you've ever done, and just kind of have to stay like mentally sharp and focused through all of that, which I think I've done a fairly good job at this time around. There's definitely days when I haven't been as motivated as others, and it starts to like wear on you a little bit, but I think that's when like the discipline and the consistency part really starts to show through. I would say I feel a lot more prepared than I was going into Chicago, just doing a full 16-week marathon build-up. I got in some of the longer long runs and long run workouts that I didn't quite get in before Chicago last year. So I mean, really, I don't think of anything else I could have done over the past 15 weeks to put me in a better spot. I just really need to go out there and execute on race day.